Welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. Now, malaria remains one of the world's most persistent infectious diseases. And while the Philippines has made significant progress in controlling its spread, it continues to pose a threat in certain areas. Now, this is particularly true in remote and rural communities. Now, with climate change, increased mobility, and changing ecosystems, the fight against malaria faces new challenges that demand constant vigilance and innovation. Now, to help us understand the current situation and efforts to combat malaria in the Philippines, we are joined via Zoom by Dr. Rogin Solante, Chair of the Adult Infectious Diseases and Tropical Medicine Department at the San Lazaro Hospital. It's a beautiful day, Doc Jean. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, good morning, Paulo.
Doc, first of all, let's talk about the status of malaria here in the country. Could you give us a brief overview of the cases that we currently have nationwide, and of course, where is it more or less prevalent?
Yes, for now, no, before 2000, the year 2000, Philippines was really one of the hotspots of malaria in Southeast Asia. And because of a very good malarial control, especially in the Department of Health, we were able to really lessen the provinces that ang goal kasi natin doon yung provinces that is malaria free, no?
Mm-hmm.
And the latest count now as of 2023, no, ito yung pinaka-latest natin. Only Palawan and certain areas of Palawan that is reporting malaria. Ibig sabihin, isa na lang, no? So wala na yung ibang mga provinces. So from the original of most provinces, more than 70% of the provinces reporting malaria in the Philippines, ang Palawan na lang, at I think there are only 3 municipalities now in Palawan that is also reporting cases of malaria. So that's a big progress for us, and we don't consider malaria anymore a big threat in the Philippines.
Doc, balikan muna natin yung year 2000s or around that area. You mentioned po that dati talaga isa tayo sa mga hotspots ng malaria. Ano pong ginawa ng DOH in particular to be able to curb its spread and to almost be malaria-free?
Well, ang malaria kasi it's transmitted by the mosquito, no, carrying the microorganism. And there are areas in the Philippines talagang malawak yung larval transmission dahil nga tropical country, na malaking bagay yung mga environment na kung saan man namumugad itong mga lamok na to, especially in the countryside, and usually mahirap siyang i-control, but because of the efforts of the government to really clean up those environment, no, may mga tinatawag tayong larvicidal program na yung mga pinupugaran ng mga lamok sa mga provinces talagang iniisa-isa yan yung mga tinutukoy na mga area na mga hotspots ng malaria. And then at the same time, malaking bagay din ang yung mga prophylaxis na binibigay natin doon sa mga areas na to also stop the transmission, especially if you're traveling to those areas, no? Mm-hmm. So it's more on larval control, yung mga mosquito, in terms of by controlling the environment, cleaning the environment, and at the same time, aggressive clinical management. Pag nagka-malaria ka, dapat tinutukoy kung saan ka nanggaling, at the same time, tinitrace yun kung sino pa yung mga areas na merong mga nag-report na malaria.
Doc, I want to connect this with what we're seeing also with the dengue cases in the country, because based on, well, kung saan po sila galing, which is the larva, which is mosquitoes, and it also requires a certain level of larvicidal control. Is that something that we can apply also to the way that we fight dengue, considering po that nagkaroon ng konting spike yung dengue cases earlier in the year?
Yes, malaking bagay talaga ang vector control, no? Ang tawag namin yan vector control, kasi yung nagdadala ng mikrobyo nito ay yung mga mosquito na talagang they infect and bite anyone who is exposed to this type of mosquito. Medyo lang siguro characteristic ng mga mosquito ng malaria at saka yung dengue, because most of the mosquito sa dengue usually thrive in the highly urbanized area. Mm-hmm. But in the malaria, in the Aedes albopictus is usually in areas na malapit sa mga beaches, sa mga yung may mga watershed, no, na hindi highly urbanized, mga mountainous areas talaga itong mga sa malaria. Kaya it's so difficult also to control. Kaya ang mga nangyayari niyan when you do some vector control in this area, talagang pupuntahan mo yung mga mapunong lugar, hindi masyadong mataong lugar, and that also high risk din ang gumagawa niyan because you're also at risk of other environmental hazard, no? But for dengue, ang problema sa dengue is mga basura, highly urbanized, ang mga lamok nandito lang sa kapaligiran natin, and more or less mas marami ang lamok ng dengue carrying the dengue virus, and I think compared to those carrying the malaria.
Doc, kapag tinignan natin yung climate change in particular, yung climate change really affecting the way the growth of a certain larva, we've seen the dengue spike partly due to the climate change as well. Is that something that we need to be wary about, especially when we talk about malaria? Na-mention mo nga po that when you talk about the watersheds, when you talk about the not as urbanized areas in particular, that could change or affect the growth of larvae in certain areas. Palagay niyo po ba that climate change is going to be something that we have to be wary of in terms of keeping malaria down dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes, Paulo, no, malaking bagay talaga ang climate change, no, because for one, with climate change, there is an erratic, longer season. Meron ding longer na hot season, especially in the Philippines. And itong climate change na to has also make this itong mga vector like mga lamok, they also nag-change din yung behavior nila, no? And in fact, that there are data now na yung pag-change ng climate natin has somehow increased the lifespan of some of these mosquitoes, especially for the dengue, malaria, mosquito carrying the malaria, no? Tumataas yung lifespan nila, mas marami silang time to really produce more mosquito, no? And at the same time, when you have more mosquito, then you have higher risk also of this mosquito carrying the infection. And that's why isa yan sa mga factor bakit may mga ibang bansa are not reporting malaria or not reporting dengue, are already reporting this mga common tropical infections that are not so common in some European or even in the US.
Doc Jean, mag-focus muna tayo sa Palawan. You mentioned po that that's the only province right now with a couple of municipalities that has cases of malaria, or at least hindi po siya zero malaria. What are the challenges there in particular na medyo nahihirapan tayo in terms of making it a zero malaria area?
Well, siguro ang challenges natin dito is really how the local government will really follow the measures, no, in terms of the countermeasures to decrease yung mga areas kung saan namumugad ang mga lamok carrying the malaria, no. Alam naman natin in areas like Palawan, no, it's a very very big province, and when you look at the demographic, the geographic situation there, it's complex also because maraming bukid, maraming iba't ibang terrain, and sometimes it's so difficult to implement this mga environmental control, especially in areas na tatawirin pa ng bundok, tatawirin mo ng ilog na marami. So something like that ang medyo challenge sa local government.
Doc, for those wondering, let's have more information on malaria itself here. Gawin natin tong information drive, Doc. What should you be worried about from a household perspective, especially po yung mga nasa mga more remote areas, or for those going out on vacation in more remote areas? What are the things that they could do to be able to potentially avoid any malaria cases? And of course, what should they watch out for?
Okay, very important, Paulo, no? They need to coordinate with the local government in Palawan kung ano yung mga municipality that is still reporting malaria, no? Like for example, if you go to Palawan, what specific municipality are you going there? Because if the local health government will tell you this area has still malaria reported cases and this area, then they have to take what we call prophylaxis before going there, no? Kasi importante yung prophylaxis na yan to prevent getting the infection.
Mhm.
And at the same time, when you know that these areas are also the ones reporting with malaria, siguro you have to evade those areas and then have yourself protected by wearing clothing that can protect your skin and less of being exposed to the mosquito. Now, the most important part here is that when you develop symptoms of malaria, the most common symptoms of malaria is still fever and headache. And when you are in an area, coming from that area na merong mga malaria case, then you have to report to the doctor na, ay, nanggaling po ako sa ganitong province
Mhm.
para lang at least malaman ng mga doktor na there's a possibility that aside from other infections, malaria should also be investigated.
Mhm. Doc, ano po yung mga challenges in treating malaria, especially once it's identified? Because I can only imagine there is a reason why napaka-comprehensive, napaka-agresibo po natin in terms of our information drives and in terms of our attack to curb the number of malaria cases dito sa Pilipinas.
Yes, ang pinaka-challenge talaga when you will be infected with the malaria that is drug resistant, no? Meron tayong tinatawag na chloroquine resistant type of Plasmodium falciparum, no? And when you have this drug resistant falciparum, yung first line ng mga gamot hindi na tumatalab, and that's why our recent recommendation, our current recommendation now is to use the second line, which is the artemether based type of treatment, which can be effective against this resistant Plasmodium falciparum, no? That's one. The other one is also diagnostics. Alam naman natin na the capability of doing madali lang, mabilis i-diagnose ang malaria, Paulo, no? You just get a blood smear, yung dugo, tapos ilagay mo siya sa isang glass, then you will look at it in the microscope. But again, it takes also timing when you get the blood, because it's important that when you get the blood during the time na naglalagnat yung pasyente, and sometimes you cannot just get the positive during the first exam, you have to really repeat 2 or 3 times para lang makuha or makita mo yung mikrobyo. Now, in the event na talagang highly suspicious na malaria ka tapos negative ka nung first test, there's also another test that will be done para lang at least makuha mo yung positivity na yung pasyente talagang merong malaria or wala.
Doc, may incubation period po ba yung malaria?
Yes, just like any other infection, pag kinakagat ka ng lamok na carrying the malarial parasite, no, usually it takes around 7 to 10 days before the appearance of the first symptom. So ibig sabihin, pag nakagat ka ngayon, magbilang ka ng 7 to 10 days kung infected yung lamok na yon. The first symptom is usually fever, then followed by headache. Ang delikado lang sa malaria, Paolo, no, pag hindi mo maagapan, it can really cause more severe form of infection. The two most important complications of malaria is when it goes to the brain, and the other one is when it affects also the kidney or yung bato natin, that can also lead to renal failure and death.
Doc Gene, I know you're helping us try to curb malaria with guestings like this, at sana po that Palawan also becomes malaria-free dahil sa mga information drive and campaigns ganito po. Maraming salamat po, Doc Gene. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Paulo, and good morning.
All right, so that was Doc Gene Solante with all those insights. Now,